If you really look at it, the biggest reason people fail financially, well, it often isn't just about low income. It's actually more about behavior. We've all heard those stories, right? The sports stars making millions, lottery winners, celebrities, certainly flush with cash. But then somehow many end up broke. It really drives home that wealth isn't just what you earn. It's really about how you manage the money you have. So today we're doing a deep dive into a pretty famous blueprint for this. Dave Ramsey's The Total Money Makeover. It's positioned not just as like a set of tips, but a real commitment, a way to destroy debt and build some actual security through discipline.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about Ramsey's approach, I think, is how it taps into psychology. He basically argues that if personal finance was just about math, nobody would really struggle with it. We'd all just run the numbers. But debt, well, debt is often emotional. It's behavioral. So his system kind of strips away all the complex financial jargon. It focuses squarely on changing habits. Sometimes that means, not doing the mathematically perfect thing, because getting the behavior right, getting that commitment, is seen as more crucial. It's like a plan for your actions, not just your spreadsheet.
Okay, so let's unpack that. He lays out this roadmap, these 7 baby steps. They're meant to be clear, actionable, moving you from like defense, just trying to survive, to actually playing offense with your money. The first bit is all about stopping the financial bleeding, right? Yeah, baby step 1.
Yeah.
It demands you get this immediate cash buffer together. Save $1,000 for a starter emergency fund. The idea is that this is your first line of defense. It handles those little life surprises, the car repair, the unexpected bill, without you having to reach for a credit card and slide back into debt.
Exactly. It's a small shield, but a critical one. And once that's in place, boom, you pivot immediately to baby step 2. And this is the one people always talk about, the debt snowball. You list your debts, but not by interest rate, which is what most financial advice would say. You list them smallest balance to largest. The entire focus is on generating momentum, knocking out that smallest debt quickly.
Okay, hold on. Because for someone who understands interest rates, telling them to ignore, say, a 25% APR credit card just to pay off a small, maybe 5% loan first, doesn't that sound, well, mathematically kind of negligent? You're basically advising people to pay more interest overall.
That's the absolute core of the debate around Ramsey, and yes, it is mathematically suboptimal. His defense is purely behavioral. He'd argue, and the results often show, that the debt avalanche method, targeting high interest first, saves more money on paper. But the snowball is designed for people who are often overwhelmed and discouraged by debt. They need those quick wins. Paying off that first small debt, then the next, it builds this incredible psychological momentum. It gives you confidence, makes you feel like you can do this. And that feeling, that commitment it generates. Ramsey argues that's far more valuable in the long run for achieving lasting change than saving a few percentage points on interest if you end up quitting halfway through.
Okay. I can see the logic there, the power of the quick win. So once the debt is gone, the plan really shifts gears, right? It moves from defense to offense, building wealth. What does that wealth building phase look like?
Right. So after the debt's cleared, the very next priority is beefing up that security. Baby step 3 is expanding the emergency fund. You take it from that initial $1,000 up to cover 3 to 6 months of your actual living expenses. This creates a serious buffer, a financial moat. So any future major setback, like a job loss, doesn't send you back to square one, back into debt.
And notice the sequence here. A lot of advice says start investing small amounts right away, but Ramsey insists on that big safety net first. Only then, in step 4, do you start investing. And the target is specific. 15% of your gross household income earmarked specifically for retirement.
Exactly. And the priorities continue. Step 5 is saving for kids' college, maybe using 529 plans, but only after you've got your own 15% retirement savings going. His logic is stark. You can borrow for college, but you absolutely cannot borrow for retirement. Secure your own oxygen mask first.
Then comes step 6, which often surprises people. Pay off your home mortgage early. It's not really about the math of investments versus mortgage rates for him. It's about achieving total freedom from payments, getting rid of that single largest monthly bill.
It's about that feeling of ultimate security. And then finally, step 7 is the end game. Build serious wealth and be outrageously generous. Give money away.
It's definitely a clear path, but we should mention the main critique, shouldn't we? Its rigidity.
Oh, absolutely. It's very black and white. The anti-credit card stance is probably the biggest example. He insists on cutting them up, living on cash or debit only. Now, obviously, many people use credit cards responsibly, get rewards, etc. But from Ramsey's perspective, for someone who's struggled deeply with debt, that tool, that temptation, it just needs to be removed entirely. It's about safety.
And that brings us back to the behavioral side. I think that quote he uses is pretty cutting. We buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like.
Hmm. Ouch. That really forces you to confront the why behind your spending, doesn't it? The emotional stuff. It really does. And if you zoom out, I think the real power of the Total Money Makeover is that clarity and that specific sequence. It gives people who feel lost a concrete, step-by-step plan. And crucially, it prioritizes changing behavior for the long haul, maybe even over finding the absolute mathematically perfect strategy that might be harder to stick with. It forces that honest look in the mirror.
So maybe a question for you listening is, when it comes to money, is that kind of simplicity maybe the most sophisticated approach after all? Is aiming for practical, lasting change actually better than chasing some kind of mathematical perfection that you might not stick with? Definitely something to think about regarding your own finances. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. For more analysis like this, check out the Audible review. We break down essential reads there all the time. And hey, if you found this useful, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out.